So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I am Bridget Bartlett with My Vision Agency, and today is Friday, which means it is our weekly group coaching session. So I want to show you how you can join us inside the meeting. So if you are a member in our program, what you want to do is go into the dashboard here. You're going to go to the community tab. You want to go to the events calendar. You can click on today's date and you can join me inside of our meeting. If you're in our free community, just know you can watch on YouTube. So what I wanted to show you today is the solution that I found for this problem that keeps happening, and I'm giving it to Fathom. Fathom is the issue. But what I'm trying to do is I want, first of all, the quality to be better, and I want to explain to you why I chose the new tool and basically my logic and thinking, because I did post this on Facebook just asking like what people are using. And then I also said why I chose Zoom Events as the software that we're going to be using in the program. So I want to show you my criteria here, and I want to show you like why I came to this solution. So let me share my screen here, and I wanna show you, I actually asked Manus to help me come up with a solution, because here's the original problem, and I know that we've talked about this in open office hours too. When you live stream from Zoom to, like, YouTube or wherever, the best quality that you can get is 720. Now, that's not a horrible quality, but it's certainly not the best. And then if you're like me and then you use those videos, you repurpose them and you cut them down into shorts, now that quality is even worse. So an effort to make that better, I went to Zoom and I was researching how do you live stream Zoom meetings in 1080p. Find out that you actually have to have a Zoom. So we have Zoom Workspace, and then you have the basic and the pros, $15 a month. And then you have, and let me actually just show you these plans here, because you may not even know this, because look, I had to figure this all out too, because I didn't even know really the differences in Zoom plans, because I've always used this basic pro version. Okay. But if you look into webinars, and let me explain webinars too, because maybe you don't know this as well. Webinars, as opposed to meetings, it's a different structure. So webinars usually have a lot more bells and whistles than the meetings, but webinars are actually designed like a stage. So like you have one or two presenters or speakers, and then you have everyone else in the audience who can basically reply and chat. I know that you guys have been involved in webinars before, and that's basically the webinar. The meeting, though, is usually what we have like right now. And we have an open office hours where everyone can join the meeting and we can all collaborate and have discussions and we can all hear each other and we can turn our cameras on and screen share and do all of those things that are really important in open office hours in this type of structure. So when I went looking for a tool that allows me to do all of those things, it actually was quite difficult, because webinar platforms typically have like maybe just a handful of presenters. Even if we're looking at Restream and StreamYard and other softwares like that, like the multi-streaming that you can invite people into the meeting, those are usually capped at 10. So obviously we need a lot more than that. So these were the initial problems that I had. Now, let's go back here to the other functionality here. So what I was wanting to do is I was wanting to combine Zoom, Restream, and Fathom. So when I went to AI, I basically had this wish list, and my wish list was this. And what I was trying to find out, is there anything like this? I have no idea, because I've just used Zoom for so long. In the effort, right? It's looking for the robust conferencing like Zoom, multi-streaming like Restream, and then the AI meeting assistant for Fathom. Okay. Now, something else that I wanted, of course, it wasn't a requirement, but like I said, this was a wish list. I wanted the advanced audio correction, and we talked about last week, Martina, her dogs were barking in the background, and I've had that same experience. Amazon shows up and you have a delivery and the dogs go crazy and you're in the middle of a meeting. And previously I had been using Chris, but what we learned in that experience was we couldn't even hear Martina's dogs. And so that let me think, okay, maybe I no longer need Crisp anymore because Zoom has built in that feature for the enhanced audio quality and removing the background noise. So that's really important because if you are the host, then obviously you want your video to be the best quality visually. But if we can remove all that background noise, then obviously that helps with the replay value and when we're cutting down in shorts and doing all of those things, right? So that was something on my wish list, not really a requirement, but something that I wanted to tell AI, hey, these are all the things that I want. Help me find the best solution. The next thing, the video beautification filter. Now, a lot of you guys don't care about this, but us ladies, we care about this. A lot of times we get on camera, we want our makeup on, or maybe we just don't want to look as old like myself. And so we really enjoy that. And again, it's not like it was a requirement, but it certainly does help that if that's built in there, because that is one of the things that a lot of us ladies use in Zoom. I also needed an attendee capacity at least 50. Now, I really need more than that, but when I'm looking for this, I thought 50 is a good number to help us expand, but also not be I didn't need anything super robust for thousands of people. Also, the multi on-camera participants, that was what I was saying about the difference between meetings and webinars. I can't really just use a standard meeting. Sorry, Rick, I'm letting you in here. I couldn't just use a standard meeting or a standard webinar platform and then invite everyone in because, like I said, they were capping out at 10. So that was not going to work for me. Another thing that I needed was a pre-recorded video playback with live interaction, meaning right now what you guys do is you go at 2:00, you guys go to the community, you go to the YouTube video, you watch the YouTube video, then you go to the event calendar, and then you click on the Zoom link to join once that's over. What I want to provide for you is a much easier way of doing that. I want you to have the ability to just go to the community, click on the link, watch the video, and then we can open up for Q&A and open office hours like we normally do. I want to prevent you from having to bounce around because obviously that's the best solution. The next thing, and this is what I always talk about when we're choosing tools that we want to use for our business, we need to be mindful of the integrations. What integrations do I need for my business? And what integrations are available that maybe I never even thought about as being a possibility to help me automate more of my processes? And that was a big part of it. I needed it to integrate with high level. So what it showed me was the Zoom events. And you can see here that to have a Zoom event or to have the Zoom event plan, you have to have the Workspace Pro account minimum, right? So we're going back now to the basic Zoom plans where you have the free version. I'm hearing someone's mic. You have the free version and then you have the paid version here. So you have to at least have this paid version to be able to upgrade to the events or webinars, okay? Now, to help you understand these plans, you have the Zoom webinars, and then you have the Zoom sessions, which includes the webinars, okay? So you don't need both of these plans. But if you have Zoom events, now you have the Zoom webinars, sessions, and Zoom events. And this price is $149 a month in addition to your Google Workspace Pro. So your total cost in is like $165, okay? So that's the total cost and the breakdown of how Zoom works and all of that. And of course, they have other add-ons here, which you may or may not need. I decided I didn't need them, so you guys can decide whatever, you want. Now, let's talk about what Zoom events looks like. It's not even like the same platform. It's like you have an addition, like you click on the Zoom in the back office, and then it just opens up a whole new platform. So you have your own like hub inside here. So you have your Zoom events, which you can see here. I've created one just as an example. You have your video management. Now, I also want to point out the downfall of this is that if you want to do what I was saying I wanted to do, I wanted to I wanted to upload a pre-recorded video, kind of what you can do in StreamYard and Restream. You can like have the video play and then, you can piece together your live stream like that. It complicates things in that process when you are inviting many people into your system, okay, into your meeting or webinar. The way that this is set up, if I wanted to do that, like you can see, I can't upload a video here to use inside my meetings. And you'll see here that you need to upgrade to the advanced video CMS plan. So you can't use even this plan, which is included in the Zoom events. You have to have this plan here because it says custom videos. You'll see that's checked there. Now, I will say, I tried to find out the price of this plan, but Zoom, I went to support and they bounced me around from person to person. I'm not kidding you. Yesterday, I spent 2 hours on hold with Zoom, or not even on hold, while person after person, probably 5 different people that I spoke to, was asking me all the information, verifying my account level, that they'd bounce me to somebody else, and then they'd bounce me to somebody else. And then eventually, after 2 hours of this back and forth trying to find out the cost for this plan, they said that I had to meet with a salesperson and they would put the request in and then eventually get back to me. And I was like, just forget it. Okay. So here's the workaround. When you open up your Zoom meeting, what you want to do is just make sure that when you're screen sharing, you're sharing the audio as well. And then you could just pull your video up and play it. Okay. That's the workaround. You don't need to go through all that hassle. I did all that for you. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I encourage you to do as well. So you have the playlist here of all of your videos. So if you do want to replay a video, it needs to be a video that's been recorded in Zoom. So if you are going to be doing this on a consistent basis, you may want to record your videos in Zoom. However, you don't have all the descriptability that I've explained to you that I do. And if you guys do that as well, it would be pretty much like a live video that you'd have to pre-record, and then the unedited version, you'd have to use that. So that's not really optimal. But when you look at all of the features overall, this is definitely super cool. Now you do have your channels here, and channels are, like it says here, group your videos, event recordings, and playlists to a channel, which you can publish to a web page or your content. Now, what's cool about this is I can go to the channel page, and you can see that this is like what the video would be. We have like other videos down here if I had used this yet. And then you could even share that video. So my goal here is to create a page where we are live streaming every day, but you can also, below that page, you can check out all of the others. And when I say live streaming, what I really meant to say is when you join open office hours. Okay. So my thing about open office hours is I don't live stream those. And until now, I don't even share the recording of open office hours with anyone unless they were in the meeting. However, the downfall of that is there's so much value that happens in open office hours, like the collaborations, the mastermind, like it is such a powerful time that we experience 4 days a week. And then Friday, we get to do it live in front of everyone, unless we have technical issues like today. But there's so much value in that. And also, I want you guys, if you're busy, if you're working or something like that, I want you to have the ability to come back when it's available, when you're free, to be able to retain the information. And I want you to be able to view that. So I'm working on that. That will definitely not be broadcast live. It will still be private, but I do want you guys to have the ability to see those replays, and having this type of like channel page with all of the videos and the replays there of the open office hours specifically, I think is very helpful. So we have the hub analysis, so we can do a product engagement. We can actually even sell products here within our webinars using this platform. We have the content library here. We can do polls and quizzes, stream keys, so you can multi-stream to different platforms. You can add team members. You have a content hub here, and let's preview the hub. So this is basically like the page, and of course, I'm still testing all this out. I haven't even decided what structure I want to do this in yet, so that will be my project this weekend. But you can see the basic idea here. So we have the video would be playing here that's happening live, and then you would be able to come back and then check out the other events that we were working on that maybe you missed. Okay, I love that we have this chat style here. You have the countdown, you have the different sessions, itineraries, speakers, networking, all of these things that are super robust compared to the normal Zoom platform. Okay. We have the branding. So to get all this set up with your own branding, it's really straightforward. We have the configuration just with your billing and business info and all of that. And of course, like the account details here. So that's basically what I'm working on there. Now, what do you guys think of that? What do you think of Zoom events? Give me some feedback. Do you have any ideas, things that we could incorporate? Any ideas that you've had that you thought we could make open office hours better? I want to hear what you guys have to say because it's for you.
I think the logging in, but I think the logging in and being able to get everything right there, I think that part's really cool. I do what you were saying about, and then maybe you change your mind. I know you said that the replays will be available for a certain period of time. So I thought that was cool. So it's like a shelf life. And then at the end of the day, too, it does encourage people to, oh, if I want to see it, let me go in and see it because it's only available for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, or whatever the hours is. I think that part's cool. And I was laughing at the workaround on the video because if it takes 2 hours, it's like, we're going to figure it out. So it's like, we will buy it, and it was funny for it to be Zoom because everybody can agree that Zoom is a humongous company and they have sales issues because it never should be, the lesson that I heard in that is it never should be hard for somebody to purchase
Yeah.
because you will lose the sale.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I heard. I heard you basically said, I want to buy it, and they're transferring you. And then after 2 hours, they're like, oh, you need to talk to sales when you said that you needed to buy the whole time. And then even when you need to talk to sales, there's nobody available and you have to wait. It might not have been bad if initially they're like, okay, no, we need to set you up with a sales consultant. Let's get you scheduled for an appointment. Then it could have relieved that anxiety. But because that wasn't done, and we're smart enough to figure out a solution. And I believe, and I caught a bit and piece of that, but you're basically saying that you're going to pull up you're going to share screen and then just play the recording on the other screen and make sure that audio is okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
That's an important point that you brought up too about it's Zoom, right? Everybody's familiar with Zoom. Everybody's using Zoom. Everybody has Zoom downloaded to their phones already. You guys love using Fathom. I love Fathom too. All of those things definitely are something that we as business owners and hosting meetings and things like that, we need to also consider because if it's too much, people don't want to use it. If you guys have to download honestly, the downloading an additional app was a huge thing for me when I was deciding. Also, I was deciding like the integration part. I already, when we book meetings and I'm using the high level calendar, it integrates with Zoom. And so I would still have to keep Zoom. And if I'm still keeping Zoom, then it just makes more sense to just keep everything in Zoom.
and it's funny because I think that, and it goes back to the Google Drive scenario, right? That we talked about for me a couple of months ago, whereas, oh, I figured out you can, in Shocker people, you can download Zoom to your desktop and access it that way. I didn't know that, but that was available in 2013 for the first time. I caught up in 2013 and I've been using Google Drive the entire time, but it's just sometimes you don't know the full capacity of the tools that you already have. And I try to specifically maximize the tools that I have first because I'm already paying for it. And it might be easier to upgrade on a tool and then get these additional benefits that I didn't even really know that I needed or I can explore and things like that. So yeah, I definitely try to drill it down. But let's get to Tony because I don't want him to feel ignored.
He's so sensitive these days.
I join every week to know that joke. But anyway,
That was good.
every day.
I wanted to reiterate what Charles was saying that even a bad experience is a learning experience for our own business that we could apply. Because, yeah, this was a big guy. This is a big company. And if they have a gap here, Imagine that. We want to make sure we're the little guy. We want to make sure that we plug those holes. We're experiencing it. We hate it. Let's not repeat it.
And you guys, look, it's even worse for Zoom because I'm posting this on my channel. So I'm transparent about all of my experiences with you guys. But I was prepared to pay a hefty amount of money to make this process seamless. I was, especially when they're giving me the runaround and they're saying, oh, you have to contact support to even talk about it. I was like, okay, I'll play this game because I know how it is. It's high ticket. I'm anticipating it being a lot of money. And I get that psychology of you need to contact support because they want to put all their sales tactics in and show you all the benefits so that when you see that large price tag, it's, oh, okay, now I understand why it's so expensive and whatever. I get that. But when you make it so hard to even book the session, man, forget it. If I've just spent 2 hours, you could have sold me. If you had said, sure, I'll connect you to the sales department right now, even if you sent me a Zoom link to say they're waiting for you, go ahead and hop in. I would have done that. But here I am prepared to pay whatever the price is. And they made it so hard that it's like they totally lost a high ticket sale for that reason. It doesn't make any sense. I'm an advocate of putting prices on a website. I feel like it's a great pre-qualifier. If I tell you that this package is $5,000 and you don't have $5,000, you know right away this is not the package for you. Now I've just saved you time, you've saved me time. Sure, I could sell you on it, but my style is I'd rather educate you in the value and then let you decide. If I'm educating you and doing my job and then I'm sharing with you the package price, ask me questions, but I want you to decide. I'm not a guerrilla marketer. I'm not gonna tell you to sell everything you own to pay for this $5,000 package, like I've been told before by certain people. I want you to decide. Rick, how are you?
Good. I tried to listen yesterday and I got bits and pieces. I was in my car and had technical issues. Then this morning I came on, had technical issues getting in. So I have had technical issues. But the one thing that I did notice is that you had the ideal opportunity to to sell them a GHL agent product. That's what they need.
Yeah. And I was actually, I think, talking
yes,
to
Henry.
live people.
Yeah, that was a missed opportunity.
After all of that frustration, I was ready to just cancel Zoom and just like never ever use it again forever and the rest of my life. I was going to be a anti-Zoom person, but I decided no, I can't run my business by emotion. Just after I drank a glass of wine and I thought about it for a while, I was like, okay, we'll continue with Zoom and I'll find a workaround.
So I didn't, like I said, I didn't hear it yesterday and I didn't get to hear it today. So what is your, in Reader's Digest, condensed version of using this feature with Read?
So I guess like the cliff notes would be, and let me actually just show you again here. The main focus is obviously the first thing was you had to have this plan to live stream in 1080p. That's the main thing. And then, even after I upgraded my plan and all that, I still had to contact support. That was 2 hours the day before yesterday. I still had to contact support and tell them to upgrade me to 1080p because it wasn't showing in my account and all of that stuff. So definitely not an impressive experience with support. But if you see, let me go into something where I can show you what it actually, here we go. So basically you have a lobby here. So you'll be able to see when the events are taking place. You'll have a library of the different sessions and things like that. And it may look a little bit different because I haven't really chosen the best way to present our meetings yet. But you have down here like a client hub. And all of these things are like, let me find it here. All of these things are like, you can have it branded to you. I feel like this all looks different now, but when I was just in here. Let me go in here. Yeah, registration. I'm looking right now for the hub. Special roles. Now I swear it looks like they legit just did an update or something because now I can't find the hub. Oh, wait. Maybe I can look here. No, it's still the lobby. Basically, there's a hub that you have for your events, and it's basically a page. And then you have all of the different, let me get in here. You have all of the, here we go. You have all of the different videos and things that you've done. And it's like here you go. So it's basically like a page. And then you have like the events. So I want you guys to be able to like see the events coming up. I want you to be able to access like past events. So let's say that this was an open office hours. You could click here and then you'd be able to view that recording, what it was about. And then you have the references and things that I talked about in the video all listed here. What I'd like to do is I've talked before about how I want to keep open office hours secure in a way that obviously I'm not live streaming it, but my goal is for you guys to click the link, view the video. We'll watch the video together like we normally do. And then after that, we'll have our normal open session where you guys can join and all of that. And that will be available for a limited time. So it's not going to be broadcast to the public, but I would like to make it available because sometimes I know you guys are busy and maybe you want to come back and watch the replay. And there's so much value in the open office hours that I feel like people really miss out on that when they're not able to join. Previously, I've locked that down, but I do want to make it. And like I was saying, like Charles was talking about, I want to make it available, but for a limited time, like maybe 30 days or 14 days or something like that, so they can go back and check anything that's been missed. But I don't want to create an environment where you guys are afraid to be on camera or you're afraid to screen share and talk about your business because you don't want the whole world knowing everything that you're working on. Or if you share your screen and it shows like one of your clients' email addresses, I don't want you to feel that like intimidation to ask whatever question you need or screen share in open office hours. So I want to maintain that. It's just finding a balance where I can present that to everyone in the best way and make it available.
Yeah, I have attended some events on a similar type platform. I recognize what they're doing along with other platforms that I have attended events on. And it is next level and it is complicated. I could tell from those that I attended, it was a complex, new level environment. I had a good experience on it and it did have some benefits because I'm just looking at overall everything. It's not near as simple as what we're doing right now with Zoom and everything at this level, but I could see the benefits of what they had, but it is definitely a different level.
Yeah.
It's a different scale model.
We've got to level up. Yeah, it is the way that your content and all of that, and the way that your business is presented, that leaves an impression. It's just like all the things that you said. Wow, it's next level and all of those things. But I would love to hear what were the things that you thought were most impressive, which by the way, your camera looks great.
No?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was amazing. It had all the breakout rooms and people went into these different rooms for different sessions and you could have multi-speakers on different topics. And then it would bring you all back just like Zoom with their breakout rooms. But it was just a different feel.
More like interactive.
I don't know. I don't know how to say. I don't know. You could tell you were attending a bigger conference, bigger scale, and there was people all over the world, and there was thousands and thousands of people in those meetings. So I don't know, but I was very interested to hear that you're looking into this because this very well could be the next level for all of them. And I appreciate you spending your money to find out more.
Yeah. That's what I'm always saying, isn't it, Rick? I'm like, I'm gonna, what would I say? Blaze the trail or so. What is it? I'm thinking?
Somebody's got to be the
Yeah.
pioneer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do that. And I am always saying we don't need to research new solutions until we actually need the new solution. And now I'm at a point where I'm doing this 5 days a week. When you guys join, I want you to feel like, and like new people too. When new people join, I want them to feel like, whoa, not only am I impressed, but I want this for my business. And I know that if she's doing it, she knows how to do it. And I want to learn that. And that's part of what we're doing, right? It's like the not stated statement of like when people see that, they're like, oh, it's like we do demos with voice AI. People look at it and they're like, whoa, that's super impressive. I want that for my business. And this person must know how to do it. They must know how to get me there.
It's definitely the complexity of it. Someone has to experience that and go up that learning curve. Just like the complexity of GHL, it's a complex system. And this is next level. Zoom wouldn't be heading in this level if it wasn't something that's coming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. If you guys check out the videos on YouTube about Zoom events, it's crazy. It's like when you do the webinars, you can even build out like production style, like scenes inside of like the live meeting and everything. It's really cool. What was the coolest thing that you saw, Rick, that you thought, ooh, man, that's awesome?
I don't know. Because you could tell that it was a next level Zoom
Just
environment.
overall.
You could just tell it overall because it did have the lobby and you went into there. Then you could have things in that lobby of events coming up and you could register for which events you wanted to attend. And it was all in the same Zoom.
Mm.
And it was just a next level experience. You
Yeah.
could tell you weren't in a Zoom. You were in whatever that platform was. You were in
Yeah.
a new environment.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. That is definitely the feeling that I want you guys to have. I want you to be like, whoa, this is like a huge thing. But it's not that we don't need thousands of people. It's not really about thousands of people. It's just about providing a better quality experience and just a cool experience with more things. Maybe we don't use breakout rooms, but maybe you guys want to use breakout rooms. A couple weeks ago, two of you were talking about maybe we could work together on a project. It would be cool to just send you to a breakout room, let you guys discuss it if that's what you really want to do. Just bouncing around ideas.
I might just say that event was something like a 3-day event and
Yeah.
6 hours each day and different things. But I think that what I had heard yesterday about if you could be able to avoid having to go to YouTube and watch something, then coming into the room, if it could all be done in the same sequence would be really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And then you'll be able to, if you missed the day, you could go back and watch the recording and it has the training and the Q&A or open office hour session just all in the same video. So yeah, all of that would be cool. Tony?
Yeah, I had two questions. First one, when you were doing your research, did you have Minus help you narrow down? Did you started out okay?
I even asked on Facebook, I was asking like, what is everyone else using? And so I had my criteria and then I would ask Manus, okay, now compare that to this software or this software. So I was like Webinar Jam, Webinar Kit, WebEx, the other one that Heather was talking about. I can't remember the name of it now, but I had to look at that one. So many that I asked.
And the second thing that I was going to bring up is since we were talking about endeavoring in new terrain when it comes to things like this, the next wave of this type of marketing is the VR scene, right? Meta just launched like test pilot for anybody that wants to become a developer for that particular scene, right? It's like the VR, like how they had the half and half, the artificial virtual reality thing for both platforms. That's everything that we're talking about now is most definitely going to be in there where you're going to be able to have the different breakout rooms and actually go to a room. And what pushed it was COVID, obviously. Just a tidbit of information there.
Yeah. I know it's funny. it was like such a bad like time for everyone. But the consequence of it in the digital world and business world was actually very good because it forced a lot of business owners to move a lot of their business online, which is really where it should have been at that point anyway. 2020, come on. If you don't have a website for your plumbing business or whatever, what are you doing? Yeah, but in reality, these businesses have been in business for a long time. They use word of mouth and things like that. That's all cool, but that's old school thinking. We know that a website is not just about having a website. It's about making your website work for you like an employee. And when these businesses didn't have employees because they couldn't, because the distancing and all of these things happening, they still needed a way to make sales. So if you're the only business owner in your whole business and you're still relying on people to have phone, like if you're a salon and you're the only person who can do anything because you're the way that your salon's set up, and you either are going to shut down or you're going to have a voice AI that's going to answer your phones and book appointments and take payments, and you're going to do all these things automated. Otherwise, you're just going to go out of business. It made people start thinking. It's when like DoorDash and all of those other companies, they just blew up because all these little businesses who didn't have an ordering system, now they were thrown basically to the wolves. You either sign up for DoorDash, pay someone to build you a website that you can do orders from, or you just go out of business, close the doors. That's what their choice was.
Bridget, I'm inviting you to Jamaica here. Listen, so it's still a huge challenge to convince persons. I think what happened was to get a website before was pretty expensive, still is. And so maybe I'm not communicating the value. Maybe that's it, the value, but they can't get over when I say, okay, let us begin like $97 a month just to get your page up and get a chatbot on it. And came in and I just move on. I said, okay, then you're not there, you're not ready yet.
They just need to see the value. When you're talking to business owners, most of them will happily give you 10 grand if they feel like they can 10x that. So if you tell them, hey, I can bring you $100,000 in sales in the next 6 months, it's going to take a $10,000 investment, business owners would be more likely to open their ears to that type of solution than if you just say, hey, I can build you a website and it'll be this amount of money, because they don't know. They don't understand, like, what is a website? It's cool. I know it'd be cool to go and it looks pretty, but what does that do for my business? How does that move the needle? And that's what they need to know in order to make that investment.
The question that I have is, what's the problem that it solves? And when I say what's the problem that it solves, I don't really care what it is. I'm asking like the problem that it solves. Is it a $1,000 problem? Like what problem is it solving? Does that make sense? What's the cost of the problem that it's solving?
Yeah, that's for me.
Yeah.
So for instance, let's give an example. So he's a customer, so I won't use him as an example.
Right.
Say, for instance, repairs. This is electronic repairs. So this person, he does AC repairs, your stove, your washing machine, whatever like that. So these guys are pretty busy. They do good. They do very well. So they do very well with other websites. They go by referrals. So they rely on that. So when you talk to them and say, you need to be more professional, that if someone searches you on Google for your services, then you're there somewhere there. And
Andrew, question. If I told you need to be more professional, what would you think when I said that?
no, when I say wait, I don't.
Oh, okay.
To you, I would say if I'm looking for someone on Google, then the persons that appear there are more recognized.
So
Know that you are very good at what you do.
So, but do they see that as a problem? I know you identify that as a problem, but does the customer identify that as a problem? What problem do they have that you're solving? You see what I'm saying? They have to know it's a problem. So even go ahead.
No, continue.
No, what I was gonna say is at first I was thinking you might go down the line of they're missing calls or something like that because they're so busy, right? Like I could see that because then it would be like, how much do you make per client? So then we're talking about that and, oh, you're missing calls. That's a client. And how much is that client worth? And so let's multiply that. So you miss 5 calls a day. A client's worth $1,000. You miss $5,000. Okay, for the day, how many days does this happen? Oh, this happens 10 days out of the month. I'm just making it up. That's
Yeah,
50
so
grand.
here's the
Yeah.
challenge.
Right.
Challenge with that. Missed
Uh-huh.
call text back or missed call WhatsApp back. It's not available here. And that's key thing. That's the most painful thing that you said. That's what I can't make that argument with
But
them.
what can you make the argument with?
The
I mean,
argument is the one I was proposing, that people do look, they agree that they themselves search Google for services or anything like that. So my thing is to try get them on Google or optimize their Google page.
Here's what you need to do,
And then,
Andrew. This is the most powerful thing that I ever did when I had an agency. And I would literally, in the call with the business owner, I would, okay, let's just do a little test. Okay. If I want to sell them on Google reviews, reputation management, a website, all that stuff, I will literally go to Google and I will type in if they're a plumbers near me. Okay.
Mhm.
Or plumbers in this area. And then I want to look at all the plumbers. Now, if that business is not at the top, which likely they're not, I want to say, look at this business. They're the ones who come to the top. Now, why do they come to the top? Because 70%, I don't know the new statistic, but let's say 70% of all customers, it's probably higher than that, will go to this first business. Okay. So if they're not even on that list, obviously that's a problem, but they're going to that first business. Now, if I click on the first business and I go to their website, I want to be pointing out all the things that they're doing right. I want to say, look at all the 5-star reviews they have. You've got to have reviews because Google will reward you by putting you at the top of the list. Now, when you click on their website, you have 5 minutes to capture their attention, and 70% of customers will bounce away to the next service if they don't have the ability to get the answers they need right away, or book an appointment, or contact you on the web chat and get a quote, or something like that. So if chances are this top rated business is going to have all those things. Now scroll down the list and look at the other people and say, look how long it takes me to get to your business. Would you like to be at the top? Would you like to have a system that is automated like this so that you're not missing all of these customers? Because look, if you're missing 80% of everyone it's probably higher. Let's say you're missing 95% of all of the customers in your area searching for your business. What would you do if you could increase your business by 95%? How would that change your life? That's how you show them, like visually, and help them understand the value, because it's not their job to know those things, really. It's our job because we are the ones who want to provide that solution for them.
It's the
Yeah.
pitch, not the product.
Yeah, I have 2 persons that I've been following up for the past, since November. And these are persons I've known for years. One is a pharmacy owner, and the other, he does electronics, auto electronics. So these persons are established in their space. Both don't have a website. They barely appear in Google. One uses both are in the yellow pages. One is disgruntled, saying, oh, the yellow pages is static, it's boring. And I'm saying, yes, I'm saying the same thing. And this is what I have to offer. But still, there's something to overcome with them. So I'm just saying.
With the pharmacy, I worked in pharmacy for 20 years, and they were actually my niche when I first got started. So pharmacies, if they don't have a website, they're answering the phone all day, every day.
All day,
Probably hired employees just to answer the phone. Now, look, pharmacy techs make a lot more than just a random cashier. Okay. But even if you're paying a random cashier, which is not likely because you need to have a pharmacy license to be in pharmacy, at least in the United States. So now what they're doing is paying a pharmacy tech to just sit and answer the phone all day long. So then I would tell the pharmacy owner, what do you pay your pharmacy techs? Like 60 grand a year? You're literally paying 60 grand a year for someone to answer the phones. I have an AI agent who can take care of that for you, and it'll cost you 60 grand one time. Do you see how, like, you're still saying a large price, but you frame it in a way that they see the value?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the discussion.
Yeah, sure. Tony, thank you for waiting so patiently. I could not wait to get to you, Tony, because you're so important and valued.
Oh, I'm gonna get so beat up now. I love it though.
And I love you, Tony.
I was gonna reiterate on Andrew's conversation because Andrew, I feel you. I know exactly where you're coming from. When I sell things to my people in the islands, the mindset is different. The way you approach and the way you sell is different than how we sell here in the States. Because, for instance, I guarantee you, Andrew, am I lying about this? Because of my English, I guarantee you I could probably sell over there easier than you can. Because I go to my island and they'll buy from me. They'll take my word with technology before they would take the word of technology from people that are already on the island.
Tony, let me tell you, so this is funny. So I do a training business. That's how I discovered GHL, because I had a full-time job and I needed to either close that down or get it automated. So that's how I found GHL. So anyway, persons go to my website with my chatbot and they'll ask a million questions. And then when it's paying time, because I set my bot to say, okay, then to book in my calendar, this is a cost and we need payment at least 3 days before the training. So sometimes I just jump in and call and say, so when I call, they say, okay. So I say, what is the matter really? What's the hesitation about? Oh, I didn't know if it was real because it looked so good. It was so refined. It was, and I'm saying, yes, it exists in Jamaica. We're at this level with this. Maybe I'm one of the few, but yes, we are here. We're there. So it's challenging when they actually, when they come and I interview and ask, they say, oh, because of scamming and it was refined. I didn't expect it.
They don't believe it.
They don't believe it.
So here's what I'm getting at. Unfortunately, you have to sell differently over there than you sell here. And when it comes to the AI bot, if you're solving a problem that you're replacing an employee, you're going to have to eat that and replace it so they can see what it's actually doing. You'll have a higher sales success rate on selling. That's been my experience, just because of the way their mindset, right? If they're already that if they're already making money in their mind, they're thinking, I don't need you. I'm already making my money. Why am I going to spend extra money if I don't have to spend extra money? I'm already making money. That's how they think. The only way around that, unfortunately, is for you to get in there and be like, look, this is what I'm going to do for you. We'll run it for a month. We'll run it for 2 months. See how it does. It won't work. That won't work for everybody, but I found it has worked. It works for most people, for most of my people. I'm not going to say your people because I don't want to sound weird, but I've noticed that when I'm targeting people from the islands, because who's presenting it and the fact that they don't believe that is legit, sometimes you have to inject it into their system because you're also fighting ignorance, unfortunately. They don't have these kinds of technology that we're talking about. Listen, in America, we're fighting ignorance. Could you just imagine how much worse it is on the islands that they have nothing like we have here in the United States. So you have a lot of ignorance with technology. You have a lot of discrimination because who's providing the technology? And the proof is in the pudding, man. Sometimes you have to actually inject it and run that trial so they can actually see it. And then the next person, it might be easier because you could point them to someone who's already using it.
You might also ask, when people give you those objections, ask, what could I do to help you trust this process more, or something like that? Like, how, like, what question or what fear, or like, what is it that's really making you distrust this? Do you feel like it's not going to work? Or I would want to get, I love psychology anyway, but it's huge in sales, right? So I want to get to the root cause, because even if that customer is never going to sign with you, I want to know what their pain point is. I want to know what is really behind the objection, and then listen to them, right? Because a lot of times, if it's fear or money or whatever, then you can come back with something to address that objection. But if they're just giving you something universal, I don't think it's going to work. Well, you know that it's going to work. So what can you tell them that would take away that fear? If they're afraid they're going to get screwed over or whatever, that's a pain point going in. So how can you address that right away before they ever even think it or feel it?
Yeah, and definitely. Just that it's a bit more harder to take when it's persons you have known. These
But
persons I've known them over 15 years, and it's harder to sell to those close to you.
It is not
right,
personal,
right. And it was funny you said that, and I'm glad you actually brought that up. I was shaking my head because I was like, I would sell to somebody that I know, not off the top. Like I'm in an environment and in the industry where they'll tell you make a list of friends and family and all other type stuff, and to me it's fake sales.
I'm
Because
with you,
because
Charles.
even still, if you buy just because of me, because you know me, that's not a real sale. I need to know if a stranger will buy because of me. If we're talking about no like and trust factor, right? What is that process going to look like? Because that's what's really going to sustain you. I think that your whole, just my personal opinion, I think that your approach is wrong. Going after people that you know, if you focus on people that you don't know, that's even in the same industry, you can provide proof of concept. And so then when you're talking with your pharmacy friend, yeah, I got and the pharmacies that they know, and they're in the space, so they know the other pharmacy, and they're like, dang, you supplying the who, and who. Man, come on, you my boy. Why you ain't give it to me? I tried to give it to you. D. What's up?
And how's that pharmacy going to feel when you're going to all their competitors and they're crushing it and saving all this time and making so much money? I'm totally with you, Charles, 1,000%. Because also, you know what happens when people hire you that know you? They have your personal phone number and they feel
Yep.
like they can call you all
Yep.
day, every day.
Yep. It's
They're
bad
the,
business.
they're the biggest bugaboos. You can't even believe. And then it's usually you've given them a huge discount, and
Yep. It's
now
not
you're
working.
like, this is a nightmare.
No.
If you, yeah, I'm
You're
with
trying to work out your
you.
system, and then by the time that they come around, you have everything automatically, or you have everything in your systems and process in place, so you can tell them, hey, look, do this. And when they do that, then they're going to go through whatever the process is that's already set up. And so you don't have to deal with them in that type of capacity. And at the end of the day, too, if you're saying, I don't want to go after my competitors because they're my friend, then don't sell to that industry then. You shouldn't be in that industry at all anyway. Because even if you got that friend as a client, you're still going to sell to that industry. So just go sell to the industry. You should never be caught up on one sale. That does not make sense.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And you know what? I meet people all the time that are like, oh my gosh, Bridget, like people that I know in my like real everyday life. And they're like, Bridget, oh my gosh, you're all over YouTube and you have these Teslas now. And oh my gosh, and it's so great. And like, how can I get started doing what you're doing? I hear that all the time. And my answer is always the same. Sure, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm live there 5 days a week. If you're interested, join my community. You know how many of them have? Zero. And they already know me. They've seen I went from a 2014 Toyota Corolla to a 2024 Model Y. They've seen all of that. I don't need to prove anything. They see my YouTube channel. They've seen the whole progression, and none of them are clients. And I am fine with that. So Keith, I saw that you had your hand up. Did you have anything that you wanted to add to the conversation, or did you have a question before we spin the wheel? That hour went by so fast. I could talk to you guys all day in reality.
I was just going to share something that I learned similar to they don't even have a website situation. but if they're generating enough revenue that they don't feel as though they have a problem, that's a tough sell. Just because I think you should have a website and I know it would be a better life business for you, doesn't mean that they want it. And my example is realtors who have a big enough personal contact list that generates enough business for them in a year aren't interested in funnels. It's only people that know they have the problem that they're not talking with enough people about real estate transactions. So right away, I try and ask as quickly as possible, where's your business coming from? And okay, great. Congratulations. We'll see you next time and move on. So the problem aware, solution aware, all that kind of stuff is really important.
You might also ask them, like, what does their back end look like, Keith? Like those people who say, yeah, I have a large database and network because I've been doing this for so long. How do they organize those? How do they follow up with those people? Like when they get a new listing or something, or how do they reach out to them periodically? Do they have an email list? Are they sending emails? How do they keep them organized? How do they send like birthday notifications or something? Do they
Yeah, that's all
what is your
useful.
process?
That's useful, but from the clientele, my customer base here, that's not interesting enough to further the conversation because they get that offer a million times a day. It's the people I've had success so far by just subscribing, signing up for the sponsored Instagram of the 14 million realtors that get served to be downloaded. If it looks good, I realize now I want people that are doing reasonably well with this already, not the first timers, is they don't have the budget for the ads after the fact anyway.
Right.
Slowly picking off mistakes here. And
The only reason I say to ask them those questions is one, it's for your own knowledge. You want to know, okay, these people are crushing it. How? What does their back end look like? And I'd also want to know how long does that, when they tell me all the things that they do, because they have to, otherwise they wouldn't be balling out like they are. When they tell me all the things that they do, I want to know how long does that take you to do? And then in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you can automate that. You can automate that. Okay, so I could save you 20 hours a week. There's no business owner who's not interested in saving 20 hours a week.
Because they can invest that time in more income producing activities. It's really, and I guess one of the things that I hear is different that I'm in my sales process. What I love is I love a no sale. I love a no sale more than I love a sale. I know that might be crazy to people, but the reason I like a no sale,
Chris, clear no is excellent.
no,
I'm a no until X, and then you're like, oh, thank you so much.
yeah, because we'll see when I get the no, even if it's nah, then I'm like, why? And I can use that to ask questions. Long story short, just to figure out what's going on. At the end of the day, I don't care what the business is, they have an issue. Like we just talked about Zoom, and we understand what the issue is, and they're missing money. Case in point. And so if they missed one sale, then they can miss X number of sales. So then it's just asking questions. And I'm not saying that I out of the nose that I closed that particular no, but I have had clear no's, and then based on questions and in-depth conversations, they ended up turning around. Honestly, I wasn't even trying. I was seriously like, okay, cool. I can have a free focus group conversation right now and figure out what's going on with the market. And I just started having a conversation. But like Bridget was saying, you learn stuff along the way, and you can figure out what's going on with those higher ticket ones. And then the funny thing that I was thinking to myself is, even with your client base, when you get them to the point where they are doing that, then what problems are they going to have at that point? And then what solutions are you going to put in place? So then it's cool to have a conversation on the high end, because you can understand what the problems are. So you can look at what solutions to put in place. And then it helps with shiny ball syndrome too, because you're like, that might be a shiny ball that I might go after, because I know step 3 in my client's life journey that they might need something like this, and let me be aware of what's going on. But now I understand what you're saying as far as is moving on, but that's just my thought process, especially when I get those no's.
Also, before you move on, those types of people are perfect referral partners.
Yeah.
So create an affiliate program for your service and say, hey, look, I know that you don't need this right now, but if you have anyone in your network who you think would benefit from this type of service, I would so appreciate if you would pass this on, and I can even give you an affiliate link and pay a commission for all of the referrals.
Yeah, that's key.
All right, guys, I'm going to call your name here and we're going to spin the wheel. Make sure that I have missed anyone. Oh, there's Martina's beautiful face on the golf course today. I love seeing it.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I'm trying to turn the camera around so you guys can see where we are.
Looks beautiful.
This for today.
Love it. I'm so glad to see you out enjoying a beautiful day.
Yes, absolutely.
You deserve it.
Thank you much.
Okay, guys, let me make sure I call your name. Martina, Tony, Charles, Keith, Rick, Maria, Andrew, and Frankie. Did I miss anyone? Going once, twice? All right. Martina's probably going to win because she's on the golf course today. I'm just guessing. All right, let's spin the wheel. It's Andrew. All right, Andrew, you are the lucky one. I'm going to.
Thank you. So I just
Honestly,
to get going with this too, Bridget. So yeah.
happy to help. I will send you the link to book your private consultation as soon as we're done here. All right, guys, do you have any other questions or anything that I can answer for you before we go for the weekend? And remember, Monday, there will be a little different situation for open office hours. Hopefully I can get all this set up and it's beautiful. And you guys you click the link and then you're like, oh, this is amazing. That's the impression I'm going for. So thank you all so much for joining me today. And I hope you have an awesome weekend and I will see you all on Monday. Go make your vision a reality. Bye.